Okay, all right. So thanks Aditya and DSI for giving this opportunity to moderate today. And my panelists, thanks for joining me on the stage. So without further delay, so quickly we'll start with our self-introduction, each one of us, and maybe you can also include your perspective, why this topic is very important and relevant and need of the hour, right? And how do we hope to accomplish over the next 1 hour? So maybe each one of us will take 1 minute and 30 seconds for your self-introduction, and another 30 seconds you can share your perspective. Hope that's fine, right? And let me start and let me set the context and the expectation to the audience, right, why you are talking about this topic. Starting with my self-introduction, I'm Namrata Mallick from EYGDS Cybersecurity Technology Consulting. I'm into this cybersecurity since 8 to 9 years and having total 20 plus years of experience in IT. And prior to, I joined UI 6 months back. It's very recent. And prior to UI, half of my career was spent in TCS, Tata Consulting. So it is a huge change for me from a delivery service organization to the consulting and advisory. I'm enjoying that. So regarding the perspective, why you are talking about this topic, right? I think the internet has evolved over the years, and the outcome of this evolution is metaverse, right? Everybody is talking about the metaverse, Web3, Web5, and associated technology, blockchain, cryptocurrency, etc. So the metaverse is definitely is the next evolution of the web technology, and it's going to entirely change the universe. I must say that in one sentence is that it is going to change every aspect of your life, how we work, how we live, how we play, and every business, right, the customer experience, etc. With that, I would request Mr. Rajesh to start your self-introduction and share your perspective.
Okay, good evening to all of you. You know that it's evening time. I am T.R. Rajesh with IBM and now Kyndryl for 25 years. Almost all this approximate 30 years into the industry, of which 25 years into the information security. Currently, I am managing Middle East and India CMC. And why we choose this? It's an evolution happening, and we have seen the internet, and when it started, nobody knows and how it's being used, correct? And then after that, we have seen that telephone and moving to pager, then mobile. Now everyone addicted to the mobile nowadays, correct? And that is what it's going to happen as part of the metaverse, and which is going to change, a game changer for the largest internet or service providers, and also lots of players are entering into this domain. That is why we choose this is a timing, and in the next couple of years, and there is no other choice. It has to adopt it like the way we adopted the internet. This is the next evolution which is going to happen. That's what we need to look at. Now, how many of you know that there is Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3? Okay, then everyone knows that it's all web, correct? But there was an evolution happen, Web 1. What happened to all of us? We had one single largest space where you can search for everything, correct? It was a one-way interaction. Just go and search, you will get the data. Then what happened to Web 2? That is where we are living today. What is that? And that's where we interact with the community, correct? Facebook, LinkedIn. And that's where we just talk to them. And that's where you are also seeing lots of gaming technology as part of these today's and avatars. That avatar is going to convert to the another avatar, and all the world in the new one. That is what it's going to be, the Web3, and we are also sometimes parallelly using its metaverse. But is it both are same, or is it people use it differently? But it's not same. And at the end of the day, and the Web3 is where, and we are going to use it a new idea, which is used decentralized, and it's a blockchain use, and also token-based economy. That is what we are going to use it in the Web3. Now, when we talk about the metaverse, what is metaverse then?
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Rajesh. So we'll come to that in details about the metaverse, Web3 and all in details. This is just the self-introduction and the perspective, sorry.
That's good.
So with that, I would request Mr. Amol to give your introduction and share your perspective.
Thanks, Namrata. Thanks, Namrata. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So my name is Amol Pitale. I am a managing director with Ankura Consulting. We are a global management consulting firm, and I have spent personally around 20 years in the industry. When it comes to cyber security, I've spent around last 15 years working in information security, and then now we call it cyber security. For me, why this topic is important is because, as Rajesh, taking the cue from what Rajesh said, it's a change, it's an evaluation, it's an evolution, and with every change, especially in technology, we will have new opportunities. But along with the new opportunities, there will be challenges also. And as a security professional, it's important that we keep these, while we look at the opportunities, we also keep the challenges in mind and how to sort out these challenges in the coming future. So that's what really it means to me.
Thanks, Amol. So, Mr. Ankit, can you please share your views?
Yeah, hi. My name is Ankit Arora. I'm responsible for the enterprise sales with Softcell. Softcell is a system integrator and an ISV consolidator. I do sell security and infrastructure as part of the portfolio that I manage. So, yes, this topic is really interesting. Anything that is new, and I believe the only thing that's constant is change. This is the new change. And now let's see how the market unfolds on that and what are the opportunities. I think it's a great, what do you call, line of business that we all should invest in right now as individuals, because going further, this would be one of the way of land right now. So I think it's a good discussion.
Thanks, Ankit. Last but not the least, Mr. Vishal, would love to hear
thank you.
from
My
you.
name is Vishal Sharma. I work for Kroll. They are into valuation advisory, cyber security, corporate finance, and many more. So I take care of business continuity there. And this topic is an interesting topic, as everybody has already shared. It's a disruptive technology. Like we have seen the different waves in the 90s when we got the internet, and then as Rajesh stated, right, we've got the Web 2, and now this is Web 3, right? This will change the whole experience of how we conduct our business and our daily lives too, right? How we socialize. So it's an interesting topic, but there are a lot of talks going on at this moment. It has not consolidated. There are a lot of use cases that are being discovered or being set up. So we will discuss about those. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Vishal. As all of you know that this is a very new topic, new field, and the recently evolved technologies, right? So we will, before we deep dive and more hear from the panelists about, let me start with the very fundamental and the basic thing, right? So this, we all have heard recently how this metaverse will impact the entire universe, right? In the new era of digital connectivity, the virtual reality experience, e-commerce, etc. I think the tech companies have started betting big on this. They have started investing on this one. So the first and foremost, let's hear from Mr. Rajesh. What is this Wave 3 metaverse? Everybody is talking about, or they have the questions these days, and how can these tech companies do there? So you have already covered some of the part, but you would like to add more on this one.
As I mentioned that it's a new way or it's a new idea, and the whole technology giant, including the new players, are entering into. This is a new avatar which everyone is trying to experience in the next 20 years. By 2040, that is the expectation that the way we are using today and the banking transaction, what we do earlier, we had to go to the bank, and today if you want to buy a property, what you do, and you have to go to the site, otherwise a WhatsApp call. But in the new world, and you, by sitting at home or wherever you are, you can feel, experience, touch, and that is what it's going to give you using the Web3 and the MetaVerse. Then what is this MetaVerse? And you know that we have Facebook renames to Meta, correct? Okay, now the word MetaVerse, it's not new. It came 30 years back. And that's where, and I don't know how many of you know, and Neil Stephenson in his novel in June 2000, I think so, 1992,
Yes.
and he wrote it as a novel, snow crash novel. That is where he explained this is going to happen now. And that is what we are seeing after 30 years. And that experience, the way he clearly articulated, except one criteria, all other criteria, it's happening today. And that is where he documented about the MetaVerse. It's meta, and that's one of the Latin word, and it's talking about beyond. And the verse word he choose from universe, beyond the universe. And that is what we are talking about Web3 and the MetaVerse. Tomorrow, and we are all going to sit here and experience Sydney and experience anywhere in the world by just sitting it. With the new world, the way you can experience it, you know that lots of kids are using lots of gadgets, and they are using every car race and many other things. And in some time, and you will also use it sitting at home, working for office, and going to Sydney by sitting at home. And that is what it's all going to happen to the MetaVerse as well as to the Web3. That's a new technology we are talking about. It's a fully game changer using the augmented reality, virtual reality compared to the physical reality. That is all what you need to learn it, and you need to look at lots of technological giants like Apple, Facebook, Google, and everyone. It's trying to utilize this opportunity to enter into this world, and every financial organization gradually will pick up on this, and that is a new world which you are talking about, Web3 and MetaVerse.
Thank you. That's quite informative and insightful, Mr. Rajesh. Anybody wants to add anything?
I think just to add, Web 3.0 is a platform which is a medium on which you will access metaverse. MetaVerse is a technology which has been developed. There is blockchain behind, which has got securities inbuilt, etc. But the way we are going to utilize that platform is going to be not the regular web what we use, or Web 3.0, because that's the new path towards it. So it's a good experience to start seeing how www some decades back came to this unfragmented data what we have, to a very critical data which is only going to be accessed with authority and with having the identity revealed of the person, which is the new change which will happen. So it's more secure and more focused on every vertical, every domain.
Thank you, Ankit. So if I understand from Rajesh and Ankit what they narrated, right, so in a layman terminologies, the Web 3.0 as the name suggests that it is a third generation of web technologies, right? And I think there is no there is still evolving, and there is not a canonical or universally accepted definition. But what is clear though is that it will have a very strong emphasis on the decentralized application that you mentioned, and it is going to make use of the blockchain technologies, right? And metaverse is, in nutshell and in one sentence I say, is the mix of the AR and VR, is the nothing is the virtual world, right? Thanks both of you. With that, now let me come to Mr. Amol. Definitely, this is a security and privacy conference, right? Without talking about the security challenges, the controls, the tool techniques, this panel discussion is not going to be complete. So let me come to and related to the security and privacy challenges. So where we'll have a new technology is still evolving, and it is going to capture massive data, right? It is the which we have never captured earlier, right? So definitely it is going to generate the security and privacy related challenges, the threats and the concerns, right? So according to you and your the market trends, Mr. Amol, so what are the biggest challenges, the security or privacy related challenges that you can foresee, and how we are going to prevent some kind of stuff? Can you please throw some light on that?
Thanks, Namrata. So, see, the way I look at it is, few important words that we just spoke about. One is being a new technology, immense amount of data, being on a distributed kind of platform, right? So some of the security challenges probably will be inherently taken care by the platform itself. But because it's a distributed kind of platform, the overall authenticity of the platform that can itself be a challenge to identify with the authenticity of that particular platform. Secondly, the identity. We talk about virtual reality, we are talking about augmented reality. Just take an example of a use case of a gaming platform in which suppose the kids are using various avatars to enter into that platform, various personas they are adopting, and they are playing in that particular metaverse platform. Now here, the challenge is still going to remain the same, the identity of that particular persona. So the current challenges that we have today about, say, an account takeover, or you're compromising somebody's identity, and doing a cyberbullying, which we generally see nowadays. Those challenges are still going to exist, and maybe in a probably a major format, because here right now you are probably seeing just a profile picture or a 2D image of a person or a threat actor. In the metaverse, it's going to be a 3D image. You would have probably interacted with that persona. You would have gained trust. That persona would have gained trust of yours. That can be a persona of your true friend or a very close friend. And if you suppose, take an example that that account is taken over, and then you are seeing those kind of cyber threats, cyberbullying coming from your side. So identity management. Another issue that we can foresee or discuss over here is about overall governance of that particular data. How that data is going to be governed. In today's world also, whenever we use data, we leave our sort of digital crumbs everywhere. We leave our footprints. How that entire data is to be governed within that particular platform, that is something that has to be regulated. And one of the most important thing is the governing law or governing regulations around this whole thing. Currently, because this technology is still evolving, developing, there is sort of no strong law to govern this particular universe. That is something that has to be really looked into in near future, so that suppose if there is a cybercrime and somebody has to go and report it, at least it has to be based on certain law, because even if you go to suppose a law enforcement officer, and that law enforcement officer does not have a law to base that particular crime upon, the user is going to have, the end consumer is going to have a challenge in explaining that to the law enforcement agency also, and taking it to the end closure also.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that one of the key and the privacy issue what's literally happening today. The kids are one of the vulnerable areas here today, because they spend their maybe hours together, and they trust some digital identity, correct? I don't know you, but in the digital world, and I trust you, and that's where, and the kids are more prone to, and the vulnerable the pictures and the media, and that's one of the key risks what we are experiencing today.
Yeah. Thanks Amol and Mr. Rajesh for narrating this so nicely. So definitely metaverse is still some distance away, right? But what we are sure is that we have to, the companies are committed, the use cases are compelling, and there is a good list of the customers or the vendors who are ready to deep dive and invest on this one, right? So definitely security and the privacy related challenges is still continue to appear. We cannot just wish away, but what important is that we have to address those challenges in many ways, not in only one single traditional way. So that's the takeaway from this, I believe, right? Okay, so with that, in a similar line, right, from Amol and Rajesh, it is almost important that where you have the security and privacy challenges, we have to build we have to control those security, the challenges, right? We have to prevent those things, right? Because the security must be built into the Web3 or the MetaVerse and the associated technologies, right? So let me ask this question to Mr. Ankit. So could you please throw some light, like what are the security controls and the tools and the techniques perspective we can use to prevent this kind of the challenges, and how to secure this technology is the new technology. Nobody is aware of this one. It is very new thing. So what is your take on that?
So let me start with the good news. Web 3.0 and Metaverse are completely secure. They have actually taken everything which is in technical, I would say, developments which have happened. They are the next gen solution. Obviously, they are more robust and they have learned a lot what is happening. Now, when this happens and the adaptation of cloud, I would say first is that we are now technology, or in fact as a consumer, ready for accepting this as a technology. If we had not come this far with our regular business, we would have not been able to accept it. So even 30 years before, if someone said metaverse, it would have been a failure because the consumer was not ready to accept it. But today, with the pandemic situation, with adaptability of cloud, with we being okay to decentralized infrastructure, these technologies are very, very robust and is not possible for a human to kind of get into this and get your data out. The biggest threat which this causes is on the identity. Now, who is accessing this data? A simple thing that you log in into an application from Mumbai, and in 15-20 minutes, the same login is happening from New York. So this platform is intelligent to understand it's not possible for a person to travel so much of distance at that time. It is not something which is like being written, it is understood. That's why I said it's intelligence which is picked up. It gets that intelligence, it gives an alert, it blocks. So identity becomes very important. Who is accessing your data? What is the access being there? What are the privileged accesses which have been allocated to people? Because these get very important, because earlier there was a term where I used to use that a decade back, where Indian customers used to love to hug the servers. So what I basically mean is they want their data center right on their floor. They want their data center right in front of them. I want a data center location which is only 1 hour away from my office. So this was the trend. Now that trend has changed, and how it changed was cloud adoption. So this again is a change in trend which is going to happen. Good part is it is just going to get, I would say, added on to what we are doing. This does not want us to change the way we are working. It would get added. And even as per the report of Gartner, what it says is that by 2026, 25% of the time that an average human spends, whether it is his personal time, official time, training, learning, would be spent on a metaverse platform. So if I was spending 25% of my time on something, people better research. So I think these 5 years are all about research and how we can actually make it available for the consumer to utilize it. So that would say identity is the main point, which I would say is the threat which we should handle. The rest, everything is pretty robust as a technology.
Thank you, Mr. Ankit.
Yeah. Just to add to that, and every networking professional knows about IPv4, correct? It was not literally meant for security when it is created. Right. But when we moved to IPv6, but did we literally know we moved? None of the people doesn't know actually whether I'm using V4 or V6, correct? But the V6 has inbuilt security features, and that is what you are going to see in Web3. Now they have seen the flow, what happened, but is it enough? No. The moment we start using the financial platform and everything, and the cyber team are more mature than us, and it's a group, and they will come up with some flow that we need to continuously adapt, recorrect, and move on. And that's what we need to learn and course correct.
Thank you. Anyone else, Mr. Amol, Vishal?
Yeah, I think we have summarized it well, right? the Web3 is more of an enabler, right? But the consumers or the end users would be actually into the metaverse. And there'll be multiple. That's what we are calling it. It is distributed. Nobody, no single owner or no. It's not limited to a fixed set of owners, right? The business houses or entrepreneurs would be able to create their own metaverse, right? So the actual potential of metaverse will be realized when we use the Web3, which is based on the blockchain, right? We initiate the tokenized authentication, and that's where one the persona of a user who is in one virtual world or metaverse would be able to move to the other one. So that is where we would realize the complete potential of this new technology that we are thinking of. So it is a great enabler. Obviously, as Ankit stated, right, we have come a long way, and Web3 has got a lot of security features already built in. But the other thing that he talked about, right, one individual working from a location and suddenly logs in from another location, or so that is like we still have those technologies through our SOC platforms, that SIM platforms that we do, user behavior entity analysis, right? How a specific user behaves on a daily basis. So it's again through big data that we do it. But yes, those technologies are already existing. So I think we are pretty much secure. But then conventional ways of ensuring focus would be again on the access and authentication, and the conventional ways would still remain the same.
Yeah. So thanks panelists for sharing this elaborated perspectives about these security challenges and all, right? So so what it is the audience, it is very evident, each of them made it that we have to build the security considerations right around these technologies, Web3 and Metaverse. But one important from the day one, from the very beginning, that we have to build this consideration, security consideration. But one thing I just would like to add here is that should not forget about the user experience, right? The user behavior, right? While you're considering the security, sometimes the security and the usability or the user experience, they contradict each other also, right? So that is very important that we have to. I think it's a very complex balance, but it is evident that we have to build the security considerations and we have to get started right now. So that is what we have to adopt, right? So thanks for that. So considering the fact that it is going to be the virtual reality and it will fill with massive troves of data, right? In the I think at the light speed, that they will exchange the data at the light speed. So some of them will also involve the youngsters, the adults, and the children who are going to be the early adopters of this technology, right? And we must expect that the security, this data will have a privacy related challenges and the social hacks, because it is going to be the social media going to play a very vital role. So Mr. Vishal, can you tell us what some ways that the marketers or the industries can ensure that this data privacy is maintained, right? And what do they can think of, or make the metaverse privacy from like it's reality, right? Privacy reality. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, so again, this has been touched upon, and in the other bites that have been shared. I understand that the challenges would be the same. The challenges would be same. The data is still there, as Ankit stated, that it is fragmented now. It is not at one place that it is available, all of the data, but the data would be available with individual metaverse builder or operator. So again, in the previous panel discussion, we were discussing about the data residency. So that challenge would still be there, right? Where that data or a metaverse builder is operating from, or what services is he providing in a specific geography. So all those concerns, right? We still know that we have yet to finalize our data protection in this country. So there are data protection laws across the globe. So again, all those data protection laws will have to kind of complement or should be thought about when the metaverse designers or the builders create their products. Now, one would be the challenge to maintain that data that is available with them, and the other one is actually making users again that conventional way that I'm talking about. It is very important to ensure that all the users, right, the users could be a general user, or they could be people who operate that technology, right? They should be aware of their roles and responsibilities, of how what data they are accessing, and know what is the sensitivity around that data. So that is very important, right? So we took that example of, right, with these 2 years of pandemic, right, has actually given us a lot of use cases. The most strongest one is the one where we provide education to our kids, right? In past 2 years, they were not going to school. They were using Zoom and MS Teams and other different ways to get education and attend their classes. So when this virtual reality or metaverse becomes a reality, that would be a use case, right? You can conduct those classes for students and kids at home, right? Now there's so much of data that those kids would get, and even the risk that Rajesh highlighted, that impersonification, right? Somebody hijacks the persona, and that he's my dad, right? The kid knows that he's my dad, but somebody has actually hijacked his persona, right? He appears like him, but he's not his dad, right? So those kind of challenges, right, which are like we've not thought of as yet. Those challenges would be there, but then again, my thought is that it is a lot of user awareness and education that needs to happen before actually it is all put into production, and kids actually start taking classes, right? They need to be educated that those kind of things might happen. This is what they need to be very, very careful about, and also all those operators, right, managing those systems, right, and managing the digital identities. So that refresh or reconciliation, the traditional ways, I am of the thought will not go away completely, but yes, there will be a lot of automation that will happen.
So,
couple of things to add to what Vishal said, right? And I'm just extending his points, couple of his points. User education. So when it comes to creating these personas, users also have to know about their own rights. We talked about it in the previous session, the other panelists, consent. First of all, what information you are giving away in the metaverse for creating your persona. So you need to know what information you need to give away and how it can be used or misused in a way. That's one part. Second is consent, or not giving consent, how that information should be used or not used. And the second part is depending on the local regulation, law of the land, how that particular data has to be masked or anonymized or handled by that particular data processor in that particular platform. That is something that also is a challenge when it comes to data privacy.
so thanks. Anyone else?
No, that's it.
That's
I think
fine.
we've
Okay, so
summarized
thanks Vishal and Amol for sharing that insights and elaborated it. So, definitely this data privacy, the impact of the data privacy, we cannot just underestimate. And you touched upon a very important, the relevant and need of the hour is the education, right? Online education, which we cannot just bypass, is the very, very important for the children. So, significant focus to this data privacy should be put on, right? So the convergence of the physical and the this virtual world is, right, presenting exciting opportunities in the market, right, but also it has a critical challenges on its own, right? So with this paradigm shifts, the metaverse is poised qualitatively transform every aspect of the human experience, right? So while converging technologies and unlocking the path to the metaverse fully connected, 3D immersive technology, the experience and the reach opportunity landscape across the platforms, right? So let's hear from Mr. Rajesh from you. How will metaverse unfold and transform the industries? Are these industries or the enterprises are ready for this metaverse. So what is your take on that?
It's a good question actually. It's already there. Um, and that's what the gaming industry does it today. Okay, but gradually, and it's going to use and all the maybe the financial sector, and that's another one which is going to use it. And the second is travel industry, and the third one and would be real estate. That's what one of the example and use case, and some of the people also already experience it. Today, I go to physically go to a place, and tomorrow, and sitting at home and using the gadget, and I can literally experience that place and see the measurement, everything, and I feel that I am there, and I touch the floor, and I touch everything, and that's going to, there is no limit at this point of time. It is going to transform the way we are doing in the work, and that is going to do for the future. It is going to touch everything, and most of the people knows about the Bitcoin, correct? And many people talk about that. He said Bitcoin and the metaverse is same, and it can run in parallel. It's not same, but both use the blockchain technology. But that's what, and people, it's an enabler, and the metaverse is an enabler, and it's going to be used by all the giants. And if I take an example of Apple, it's started, and Google, Facebook, they are all started experiment and creating the use cases, and we will see in the next couple of years, and everything it's moving towards this new avatar. And I'm using the word avatar, and that is a word it's going to be used in the new world actually.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh.
I think just to maybe add a couple of points. You know, the whole market has kind of, you know, it started from a product sale, it went into solution selling. Today, I think what sells in the market is outcome. A consumer, I would not say customer, it need not be an enterprise customer, it will be a consumer. I am a consumer myself, I use a lot of things. I will only go ahead and look at something if I have an outcome. What do I get out of that? So now we are at the phase where metaverse is entering into each and every exercise that we all are doing, creating that relevant outcome, which will make people go for it. Now, as and when those outcomes are getting cleared, use cases are getting built, industries will adapt. So it is more on next 4 years. As I said, it's going to be, as per Gartner, I think I keep taking over the report because at least these reports let us know what's happening based on the survey they have done. If 25% of your time is going to go on metaverse, then it has to be part of each and everything that you do. So every industry needs to come out with an outcome. Education is great, semiconductor is great, socializing is great, manufacturing is great. I think I was just talking, someone had given the car examples. I think it's something which was something which is very unique. I think these are the things which are going to happen. So I would just say that if the outcome and the use case is ready, it is already there for the market. So we have to just see the use cases fit in.
Yeah, the strongest, as I said, the strongest two use cases this pandemic has thrown upon us, right? Yeah. We work from home, a lot of people, right? A lot of these collaboration tools that we have used, right? These collaboration tools will change, right? We would be able to actually interact like we physically meet in our offices. So those kind of setups would be there, or those use cases are pretty strong use cases. I think these will be very, very quickly explored.
Thank you. When Rajesh was just explaining that, you are right, it was quite impressive and amazing, right, how you are going to experience all together. Thanks for that. Just as the digital transformation continues, the metaverse transformation is also very important and is required at this moment of time, I believe, right? So, the next question I'll come to Mr. Ankit, right? So, if I have to believe a recent city report that I have gone through that, we could generate up to $13 trillion, right, in value for the business and around the world by 2030. So but staying in here and now, for a moment, there is that $13 trillion, right? And we have to think about that. We have to be ready for that also. So, and anyone interested in taking a cut of that could start thinking about the skills, the capability building, excuse me, and the experience and the will which are required to for this new digital technologies, right? So according to you, Mr. Ankit, so and your experience, so what are the different capabilities or the skills, the expertise that needs to be built around these technologies, right? So, and what are the industries looking for? Are they looking for to develop this kind of the skills and capabilities? What is your take on that?
You mentioned more on towards the job side of it, right? The
Yes,
jobs
the
and the advantages.
opportunities, yes.
So yes, I think every time you have a new technology, anything that's new will have the fundamentals of people remain same. So skill sets have to be developed. So there are a lot of people who need to invest their time, use their fundamentals, and understand how exactly these technologies are working. So there will be a lot of offers, a lot of companies hiring, because right now it's at R&D stage. So by the time the next 4 years, you would have various case studies coming in, a lot of I would say meta developers, meta fabric, engineers designing on it. These are different jobs that I had also not heard of when I saw the hiring portal. But then yes, these are different terminologies. They don't call them the database administrator, they don't call them the IT administrator, they are different names. But at the end of it, the work is exactly the same. And everyone needs to have that skill set with them, because to keep the application and the technology safe, you need to invest. So there's going to be a lot of jobs in terms of people going towards metaverse. There's a lot of, I would say, learning that I would say anyone coming out of college, anyone training themselves on, these are good technologies to be working on. However, it would still be run by people traditionally who've been there. So they would start hiring that skill set and develop that particular chain within their systems to make it successful. This is exactly what was done, the pandemic story. There was a bank, and I don't recall anyone giving me a 1 lakh rupee loan without me going to a bank. Today they sanction 100 crores, 1000 crores. Sitting in an apartment working on that particular laptop, they were able to do that. Everything was done. RBI said that, India traditionally did that. My dad always told me that we need to go to the bank, get your passbook updated, come back. We should do this as a practice. I still have seen both the sides of the world, but if I have to tell my son what a passbook is, I'd rather not do it. I send him to my dad. So that's exactly what's happening in this particular stream. The more metaverse gets inside the systems and our use cases, the more and more skill sets are going to be developed towards the side of it, and would give a lot of opportunities to people to start working on these technologies. Whether we like it or not, yes, all of us have to learn it. For us, it gets a bit tough because we need to unlearn and relearn something. But I think for your kids, for the younger generation, I think you're starting off for the best technology, which is already taken care of in the platform, and how to build a secured platform. So it's a good path that any new generation should come in. They will be much faster to pick up things than us.
Just to add to that, so how many, most of us are working in an organization, correct? Now, how many of us know that, how many psychologists or psychiatrists we would have recruited? Even in very large organization, how many? 2 maximum or 3? But in the new world, I need more of that people to tell me how you can experience the user, correct? How I can literally read a kid's mind, and how I can develop a program using AI, all other technology. That's what the organization is going to do now. Now, it's not our traditional skills alone, and you are going to see lots of new skills are coming in on the way. That's some of them which we have seen, some of the use cases. Some of the large organizations, not naming, and they have now hundreds of psychiatrists, psychologists, and working for their organization, and with the younger generation to develop the tools and the technology. Right. And that's a new trend, correct? Otherwise, we only see a psychiatrist when I have a literal mental problem, correct? And the world is going to change now. And that's some of the real experience we have seen it.
So I think, the job market is good. I think, Vishal, something on the training thing we had discussed.
Yeah,
I think it's a very valid point. Which
it's an enormous potential, right? Initially, as Ankit stated, right, it'll be firms and enterprises who would upskill their employees when they set up any new system which makes use of these technologies. They will upskill them, but then traditionally It will also give employment and new business generation to the institutions, to educational institutions, to create programs, formal, certifications and programs, and that is where they'll have new trainers hired, and they know that there'll be a new profile that will get created for MetaVerse or Web3 or the new technology, how to use it, how to implement it. So all those new generation, job generation would happen, as Rajesh stated, right? So these to even to develop the technology, right? We will have psychologists and others, for the lot of other technologies that would combine to build this whole setup or platform would be used. So a lot of job creation will happen.
I think just to summarize to what you asked, yes, there are a lot of opportunity. There's going to be a lot of growth. This is going to be kind of resonated across, and right, not just from the organization point of view, even the related industry, training, learning development, skill set, outsourcing, all of this is very important. So I think people have already invested a few decades on this technology to study it. Blockchain is not new, but then everyone has understood the advantage of it. And I have maybe a funnier thought on this, that while I'm talking all constructive, there is a whole world of destructive around it. So right now viruses are getting developed, we will sell the antiviruses later. So I think that's the story right now on Metaverse specifically. People are really trying to find out what they can do, how they can harm, and we will sell a solution of it later. Right now, let the problems come. It's a time where we face a lot of problems and people are investing time to investigate on problems. So it's a dark world,
yeah,
yes.
Very true. Like in some movie I heard that for every hero there is an anti-hero, right? So some things would be there, and then again that would create more opportunities for the hero to develop those skills and counter them.
I like that. Currently, villain is the new hero. So let's kind of continue with this trend before actually it becomes a hero for us to use in 3 or 4 years. But currently, yes, the villain is the hero here. So there's a whole dark market on around.
Thank you, thank you. I think in continuation of that question, another question is coming to mind in the similar pattern, right? So as you also talked about that Web3 and the metaverse and the associated technologies is going to open up a whole chapter, that new chapter which if you are into the software development business, right? And marketplace and the industries have started putting money like the $10 billion into the space, and we are talking about $13 trillion down the road on so over the some few years. So what do you think, Mr. Amol, right? So they've already touched about the upskill, the cross-skilling, the training, enablement on. So do you think this skill set is available in the market, or the industries have the sufficient capabilities or the competency or the experts within their industries, or they are going to hire from the market, or they are going to leverage their existing developers and revamp and build this technology within that? So what is your experience, how do you see this one, or how do you visualize?
Sure. So Namrata, let's break it up a bit. As a concept, AR, VR, AI, ML, these are all not very new concepts. Okay. So if you look at the skill availability from conceptual point of view, it is already there in the market. Plus, we have already started talking about these newer technologies, so people have already started researching about it. Okay, so on that front, research and skills are already getting them. Okay, when it comes to hiring, if you want to have a ready-made resource hired immediately, maybe you will not get that particular person in the market immediately, right? So it is going to be a combination. In any organization, you will see there will be some people, some developers who will be early adopters of the technology. So people who are really enthusiastic, they will pick this up, they will start developing, they will start showing interest, and they will start going ahead with it. What it will do is, it will create some time, it will create some room for the others to learn these skills, or even unlearn certain skills and learn these new skills. In parallel, because we are at least looking 3-4 years down the line, As Vishal rightly said, there will be some training institutes, there will be some certification platforms, they will come up, and then there will be trainings and certifications that will be done specifically in these areas, especially related to the development of these technologies, and then the skill set can be made available over there. However, from a company's point of view, because this is the truth that we are seeing in the market, that this is evident that this is coming. Why not start investing in these skill development right now? Start early so that you can be, even if you can be early adopters also, or you can be pioneers in these particular technologies when you talk about rolling out these technologies for your consumers.
Just to add to that, and you know that the Facebook has changed the name to Meta, and why they changed it, right? And they are now itself declaring that, yes, I am into this world now. I am a MetaVerse organization. And before anybody catch hold, he has already put that name actually.
He registered that 17 years back.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
planned
Yes.
it then.
Yeah. So definitely we are going to need a whole bunch of the talent and the skills, right? Which has not even invented earlier, right? So, but the most important thing is that how we are going to develop and maintain these skills, right, for a longer time. That strategy is very, very important for each industries who are putting so much money or investing on the training and enablement, but they have to also think and strategize to keep that competency, that talent within there for a longer time. That is very, very important. Definitely metaverse is drawing the attention of the tech companies and how it is going to change the companies interact with the customer, right? So let's hear from Mr. Vishal. Will metaverse influence customer in experience and how people interact in the social media, right? And what is your take on that? We'd love to hear from you, Mr. Vishal.
Absolutely, it is going to change, completely the customer experience, right? The way, I mean, we can just go by our experiences, right? When we started, right, using the touch screen phones, right? That experience, we were overwhelmed, right? Now it has become a usual. But now what is it, right? The industry or the cellular providers, it is on to, there were different technologies that we use, reflective and all that, right? So similarly, the early entrants will have some advantage, and whatever they set, right, would be the benchmark. But as it unfolds and the competition grows, the consumer would look for better experience. They would start demanding. So that is going to happen. So again, I understand that there will be tough competition, but yes, it is going to the customer experience will definitely change. As it keeps developing. Initially, I understand whatever the developers or the metaverse builders present, that will be taken. But eventually, when the competition grows, they would be more demanding in terms of better experience or their newer requirements or features and benefits that they get out of it. So it is going to happen. Yes.
And just to add to what Vishal said, it's not only the UX, but it's even the ease of access. Just one example which I can state over here is, suppose if a new car is getting launched in an automobile industry, typically there is a launch event and there is a highest
footfalls on that place.
Yeah, the footfall is there and you see the highest version of the car there. But if you are really going to buy that car, probably you are going to look at 10 other versions, and you will want to actually look and feel how that car will look for you, your version. And now, ease of access, when I say, even sitting at your home, you can experience that. You don't have to really go to the venue, but it will be so much accessible and easier for me to sit at home and check what is there. And this is just one example in automobile industry.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Amol and Vishal. So definitely, this metaverse is another channel for the tech companies to engage the customer and their behavior, right, and understand that brand sentiment as well. So we are already getting the sign for the timing. So we'll close this question around here and we'll open up this floor for the audience questions. So anybody from the audience, please? Yeah, sure. Can you have the mic, please?
Or maybe you can
Yeah,
ask.
yeah, you
We
can.
will hear. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Everyone can pitch in. So first, this was one session where I was sure I wanted to attend, like in the beginning of the day itself, and I'm glad to see we are having these discussions already. And like you, Namrata, said about the complex balance with changing user behavior, and early adopters are young, and I'm sure they're way more creative than we are. With the new personality choice that they'll have every day, it'll be difficult for the intelligence to build and develop a trend or a pattern. Like right now, they know how I behave or you behave. So we have a personality trail, right? And like Facebook, even the Web 2 for the convenience, of reference, it was a great enabler initially. But now what we are struggling with, and we are still trying to catch up on the security because of the misuse. Even Facebook, all these platforms started great, including small platforms like OLX. I just prevented, would have gotten into a scam. This so before this technology becomes commercially and commonly available to everyone, and we are already talking about will statements, there will be opportunities for psychologists, there will be, how are we learning and what are we practically doing? Because we need psychologists now. There are children who are already in that world, there are adults who are already in that world, and we do not have next 5 or 10 years for these psychologists to develop, for this legal framework to develop, for these security policies to develop. So what are the forward thinkers doing, including cryptocurrency? Like it started with very secure this thing, but right now all sorts of financial frauds are happening. Web3 could be one of the platforms, but tomorrow hundreds of such platforms will happen, which will be less secure, which will offer more convenience maybe, but at a compromised security. So who is anticipating all these things, and what are we practically doing about it? Like this is a scary thing, because there we'll actually be inside, and if we are not able to secure ourselves in a 2D world, how are we going to secure ourselves in a 3D world where,
Yeah, it's a good question actually. It's a very long question, but if you
Sometimes
ask,
the question is,
yeah, it's not a question. It's a reality what you explained actually. The new giants and the people who are developing it, and they are already known about this. They are already taken care of many of these flows. But is it secure? And it's because you are seeing that lots of technological advances and the cyber, I will not say criminals, and the cyber enthusiastic, and they will come up with something new. And it's an evolving area, but what we know that at this point of time, uh, data privacy and the protecting the information through blockchain, some of these are already taken care. But some of your behavioral and the adaptation and the use cases, the time will come, and it will only come when we use it. Well, that is what people are doing through the use cases. How do we protect this? And but still, is it 100% proof? No security is 100% proof, correct? But they are trying to build as much as possible because this is a new avatar, and we have to protect. Otherwise, no one will use it. And the way we started using the cloud, initially everyone was talking about cloud is not secure, correct? Today, use of that, and we also believe that it's secure, and we are using it, correct? Yes, it's a good question, and people are already thought of this, and lots of thought process and use cases, it's already happening. Yes, this is one of the talk point in that domain.
I think the point, okay, first of all, everyone who is young is very tough to please because they ask you the right questions. Now, I would give this that why did our parents put money in a bank? Because they felt it's safe. Metaverse is exactly the bank for your data. That's how it's being positioned. Now, whether it reaches there, are we doing the right steps? How are we protected? Yes, these are things which we do not have an answer for as individuals. But then when a bank is made, it protects it. So same way when they have designed something of this on blockchain where the expert feels that the data cannot be accessed, it gives you a sense of comfort. Now, having a digital currency never gave comfort because it kept fluctuating. But your normal economy runs on money. So we are okay when we feel we have this much amount of money. That's exactly what a consumer will start feeling in Metaverse. And second, you mentioned the point that like Web 3.0, there could be another technology, a cheaper technology, another one. I understand. See, technologies can change, but then why would you like to drive, will you ever drive an ambassador today, even if I give it to you? Right? So it's just about that thought. The question will not be that what's the cost. It would be that you feel outdated. You're going to get changed, and that is only getting changed with people. Someone is not on Facebook, someone is not on Instagram, someone is not on WhatsApp. People end up asking, why are you not on it? Why have you not done it? So the change is going to come serial, whereas there are enough scientists, enough people who have done this out, because right now you are talking about being scared on your data. Just imagine the country, the defense, the economy, the one which is taking care of so many people, the budget. So they are bigger, I would say, places, and if they are safe, you would be safe. So that's the logic which they are applying upon it, and I think it's a good path to follow, because individually everyone's security concern can't be answered, but with the platform they can inbuild it to make it secure and call it secure. So I think that's where the path today is, that we need to trust the technology, use it, and as I said, focus on the outcome. What do you really want from that technology? So if there are different technologies, if someone says, yes, I'm very happy driving an ambassador, great, he will still drive it. Answer is yes, he will. But if he wants to buy a new electric vehicle, he will still go. Whether will it get burnt, whether it will happen some issues, no, we'll have to keep seeing. But in terms of tech adaptation, it is a better technology, it is a better world. And yeah, I mean, at least I have a teenager and I get this question very regularly, saying that, why shall I do this? Why am I needed to do? So with this, I would say all the young people will have the world become small. They would actually not start thinking America is somewhere else, I've never been to Australia, none. They would know it. So it's just helping people to make the world small without the need of passports, which is the best thing. You might have a digital passport on Metaverse soon, but at least the way it currently stands, it will help you make the world smaller, which is bigger for people to use it and trust the technology and go for it, because a lot of critical data is already there on it and it's protected.
Sure, yeah. I'm amazed that she has explored so much, and I was not assuming that as this is a very new technology, right, new field, but people are already aware of this one and they have started thinking about this metaverse. It's amazed, I'm really amazed. Go ahead with your next question, please.
Connect people, but now it's being it's being used to polarize people and for all the malicious intent. Similar, and we have bots which Twitter is trying to bring down and identify and all of that. What if something like this happens in metaverse? Can you imagine? Like, maybe this is a rhetorical question, but
this is definitely expected to happen, right? And we kind of touched upon it at the start, that kind of threats that you're going to look at. When we talk about, say, when I gave you an example of that account takeover or a persona being hijacked by someone, you're going to see these things, right? But on the other hand, the security also will be placed at different layers. One is at a level where law enforcement will come in. Second will be the technological level. Third will be from the user's point of view also, what data you want to share, right? So when you are actually adopting the technology, how much you are going to adopt and what all information you are going to provide your own self. That is also something that will evolve over a period of time. Right? So it is all interconnected, and it will all develop as it comes.
The way the world is becoming smaller and the people are becoming more and more intelligent, threat is a constant which is going to be there. You can't guarantee even sitting here whether you are safe or not. So that is because if the data is there, knowledge is there, that particular piece is going to be always a cause of concern. But what they have made right now is to exactly not have those flaws what Facebook had, what that app had, why those names were leaked out. That's exactly why the technology is changing. And every new technology, if you go by your past, right from the cell phone or the telephone what you used to pick up, today you use a cell phone, tomorrow there might not even be a cell phone. It might be a click which comes in front of me. So every technology has only enabled it, and that's how it goes. So I think the technology is good for us to trust it and use it appropriately.
Yeah, the 6 last minutes.
Yeah. So in the interest of the time, like the first, the final thought and the closing remark from each of us. So what is your message to about this metaverse? Maybe each one of us can tell.
I understand that this is the disruption that nobody can stop, right? The technology disruption. It will happen, and people need to adopt. If somebody misses the train, he will actually miss it, right? Then we can always say that I was in that period when I could not do it. So I think everybody will get engaged with it. Thank you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Web3 and MetaVerse is here, and people have started using it. Then all other components we need to be, some of them already taken care, and another will be on the way. And it's here. We have to trust it, and we have to move on.
To summarize in one line, it is like it is an option that we cannot reject, so better be prepared about it.
It's all about adaptability. This is going to be there, and yes, it's going to add to whatever we all know. Good part is this is nothing new. We always knew how to dial phone on a normal phone. Today we know how to dial it on a cell phone. We also know it to dial on a voice command. That's exactly, it's just the ease of it getting access will change, and you will never buy metaverse as a technology. You will buy it as an outcome. You will not go to a shop and say, can I have metaverse? That's not going to happen. You're going to buy an outcome. You're going to buy a product which is enabled with metaverse. You're going to buy technology through the product. So when brands will forecast it, I think it's a good adaptability, and we all should spend at least a good 30 minutes every, I would say, a week to just get used to this, because this world is going to get changed very fast.
Sure. So just to summarize, and final thought from my side is that metaverse is going beyond adoption. So after hearing from each of us, the panelists, right, I believe the audience is excited and ready to adopt it. If you are not, and if you do not want to lose your place in the position, start learning, and start adopting this metaverse and Web 3.0. With this, I would like to close this panel discussion, and thanks a lot, the panelists, for sharing your perspective, covering each and every question that as per your experience. Thanks a lot, and thanks the audience for patiently hearing all of us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.